Welcome to Iowa Chief Elected Officials Training Module 1, a Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act overview. The objectives of this training module are to build understanding of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and the workforce system structure and provisions. Also, to build understanding of the role of the Chief Elected Official in the workforce system. Please have the CEO Orientation and Training Guide available as you participate in this training. It can be found on the Iowa State Workforce Development Board website. And now we will jump into content, a Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act overview. A few key terms that you will hear and see repeated in this module. WIOA, or WIOA, is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. This is the piece of federal legislation that governs the workforce system. CEO is Chief Elected Official. CLEO is Chief Lead Elected Official. SWDB, or State Board, is the State Workforce Development Board. LWDB, or Local Board, is the Local Workforce Development Board. LWDA, or Local Area, is the Local Workforce Development Area. IWD is Iowa Workforce Development. And finally, when we say One Stop or American Job Center, we are referring to an Iowa Work Center. As a locally elected official, your priorities lie in taking care of your citizens by building a thriving community. Your objectives may include safe communities with low crime, plentiful business development and job opportunities, increased tax revenue, low unemployment rates, and healthy and vibrant constituents. You work to create an environment with plenty of high-quality jobs and people with the right skills to fill those jobs in the community. All of this contributes to increased tax revenue and wealth, which results in more opportunities for the community to grow and enhance services for the residents, your constituents. As an elected official, you are a critical voice in how this system operates and supports your community. As the system is built upon the concept of local control, considerable authority rests with you as a chief elected official in a local workforce development area. Given that your position necessarily immerses you in economic development activities and creating an environment conducive for business growth and expansion, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is a key tool for creating and enabling residents to fill jobs in critical industries. The Iowa Work System is governed by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. WIOA and the public workforce system are essential tools to achieving your vision. By demanding the alignment of partners and resources around key industry sectors, WIOA seeks to transform the public workforce system into a talent pipeline developer, which offers businesses the workforce they need to grow and the workers the opportunities to advance along a career pathway. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, commonly referred to as WIOA, was enacted on July 22, 2014. WIOA is designed to help job seekers access employment, education, training, and support services to succeed in the labor market and to match employers with the skilled workers they need to compete in the global economy. It is designed to be governed at a local level by a private sector-led board. Congress passed the act by a wide bipartisan majority, and it is the first legislative reform in 15 years of the public workforce system. It outlines the vision, goals, objectives, and requirements for how the public workforce system is to be structured and to operate, and brings together in strategic coordination the core programs of federal investment in skill development. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is the foundation for the state's workforce system. As the foundation, there are key principles upon which the system is to be laid. We're going to go through now each of those 5 principles. Integrated service delivery. All programs within the system are to work collaboratively to serve the 2 customers of the system. The 2 customers are the employer or business community and the individual job seeker. Programs that provide workforce services are considered partner programs. The idea here is that programs do not duplicate each other, but instead work collaboratively to deliver the best outcome for the customer. Focus on strategy. This element is critical to the local workforce development board, which you will appoint. The local workforce development board should be focused on the big picture of workforce development and strategies to ensure that the supply side, the workforce system, is meeting the demand side, the employer and business community. As the chief elected official, you lay the groundwork for the board to focus on strategy. Next, regional economic development. Meeting workforce needs is critical to economic growth. State and local workforce development boards, in partnership with workforce, economic development, and social services organizations at the state, regional, and local levels, align education and training investments to regional, civic, and economic growth strategies, ensuring that all job seekers and businesses can access pathways to prosperity. High-quality services. The system must be focused on high-quality services. To do this, stakeholders must increase coordination of programs and resources to support a comprehensive system that seamlessly provides integrated services which are accessible to all job seekers, workers, and businesses. And finally, high-quality services goes right along with an evaluative process to determine service excellence. In this manner, systems of accountability and transparency are created by analyzing data and evaluating performance standards. This means making purposeful and deliberate decisions about the system and how it will operate, as well as operating within open meeting laws and abiding by the procurement of service providers. When the system is built upon the 5 principles which we just reviewed, the outputs of the system will be what the U.S. Department of Labor refers to as hallmarks of excellence. Those hallmarks include business and job seekers drive workforce solutions, excellent customer service and focus on continuous improvement, and strong regional economies are active in community and workforce development. WIOA envisions a workforce system that is quality-focused, employer-driven, customer-centered, and tailored to meet the needs of regional economies. The vision is one of collaboration and customer focus, with business driving the system's agenda and range of services. This vision is embodied in the 3 hallmarks of excellence. As you have heard in this training module, we have referenced partners of the workforce system. On your screen are a list of partners that are required to participate in the workforce system. I want to draw your attention to a few that are considered the core partners of the system. The first is the WIOA Title I. These are the programs often known as Adult Dislocated Worker and Youth. Second is Title II of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which are commonly known as adult education programs. These are the programs at each county in Iowa where a person 18 or over who has not completed a high school diploma or GED can go to one of these programs to work on and obtain their high school diploma, GED, or high school equivalency. Title III is Wagner-Peiser. The Wagner-Peiser services and funding stream is under Iowa Workforce Development, and this is the program that funds labor exchange services at the state level. By labor exchange, we mean the system that allows an employer or a business to post a job and for that job to be matched with qualified candidates within the Iowa work system. And lastly, Title IV, which is vocational rehabilitation. In Iowa, when vocational rehabilitation funds are awarded from the federal government to the state, those funds are further broken down into two agencies. One is vocational rehabilitation, and the other is the Department for the Blind. As we've discussed on previous slides, cross-coordination of these programs is inherent to the success of the workforce system. Hopefully you are all aware of Iowa Works, and this is how the state of Iowa has branded the one-stop system or American Job Centers in the state of Iowa. And on this slide, let's take a look at the governance of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. At the top of the screen in the blue is the U.S. Department of Labor. The funding for WIOA comes to each state through the U.S. Department of Labor. In turn, USDOL has compliance and oversight requirements with the states, as well as providing technical assistance. Next, you have the governor. The governor receives the federal funding and it is housed administratively in the state workforce agency. For Iowa, this is IWD or Iowa Workforce Development. The governor, using criteria spelled out in the law, appoints the state workforce board. The state agency has oversight for the administrative functions of the state and local system. As a result, IWD has oversight for the role chief elected officials play in the local system. Chief elected officials serve as the grant subrecipient for the WIOA Title I funds and have liability for those funds. The chief elected officials designate a chief lead elected official, and the chief lead elected official appoints the local workforce development board. The chief lead elected official may also designate a fiscal agent to receive the funds, and pay bills. The Local Workforce Development Board is the governing body for the local workforce development area and sets policy and does strategic planning. The Local Workforce Development Board, in conjunction with the chief lead elected official, procures the one-stop operator who provides services to customers. Please note that Module 2 is training on roles and responsibilities of the chief elected officials, and that module goes into greater detail about what was just mentioned on this slide about what chief elected officials do and the role of the chief lead elected official. WIOA mandates a clear and specific governance structure designed to achieve the vision and hallmarks of excellence we just discussed. Currently, Iowa does not have that required structure in place and therefore is out of compliance with both the principles and key provisions of WIOA. This lack of compliance was cited in an official monitoring report issued by the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration in 2017 and in a follow-up communication confirming Iowa's at-risk status in July 2019. In that communication, the U.S. Department of Labor acknowledged the state's hard work to respond to the findings and move to compliance, particularly in the last few months. That progress must continue and lead to full compliance in 2020 to ensure the ongoing receipt of federal funding that provides critical services to job seekers, workers, and employers across Iowa. U.S. Department of Labor laid out clear requirements for Iowa to be deemed compliant with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Here are a few of the key components of compliance. First, chief elected officials must understand their financial liability for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act Title I funds. Second, chief elected officials agree how their liability will be shared and put this in writing. These two pieces are addressed specifically in Module 2, which is training on the chief elected official shared liability agreement. Third, CEOs designate an entity to administer the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funds and put this in writing. Again, this is covered in Module 2, but to provide context here, it is noted that currently IWD does not properly dispense the WIOA Title I funds down to the local level. In order to alleviate this, the CEOs working through the chief lead elected official must designate a fiscal agent. Once that happens, IWD will issue contracts and therefore funding through those designated fiscal agents. Number 4, chief elected officials appoint the local workforce development board members. There is no provision in the law for an entity other than the chief elected officials to appoint the local workforce development board members. Number 5, local workforce development boards set the vision for the local workforce system. In other words, the local workforce development boards are not intended to be a rubber stamp. They are intended to be strategic and set the vision for how services will be delivered in their local workforce development area. Local workforce development boards must perform the more than 1 dozen WIOA required functions. Additionally, in order to do this, those local workforce development boards must have competent and skilled staff that help them perform those functions. It has not been common in Iowa that local workforce development boards employ staff. Now, there have been individuals, either employees of the local COGS, Council on Governments, or employees of the local community college that have done some of these functions. However, a majority of the functions have not been done, and therefore it is concluded that local workforce development boards need to go about the task afforded to them in the law and hire staff that can serve in an executive capacity and work alongside the board and the chief elected officials to fulfill the provisions of WIOA. And lastly, every local every local workforce development area must have a competitively procured one-stop operator. This task has not happened in Iowa in the past, and this is another key area that must be adjusted in order for the state of Iowa to come into compliance. Obviously, a clear benefit of compliance is the assurance of federal funding essential to workforce and economic development in Iowa. The benefits go beyond simply sustained resources to laying a foundation for your system designed to achieve those hallmarks of excellence discussed previously. By making key changes, Iowa Works will be well positioned to do the following: meet the key operating and governing principles, promote accountability, transparency, and high-quality services, support the role of the workforce development system as a regional economic development tool, state and local areas align workforce programs with regional economic development and create unified plans, align programs and services to reduce cost and streamline service delivery, empower local boards to drive a strategic vision for talent development in their communities. Should you have any questions about this module or any of the content contained therein, please send an email to one of the addresses on your screen right now. They are wioagovernance@iwd.iowa.gov, or you can contact Michelle McNertney at iwd.iowa.gov. Thank you for your participation in today's training.